to you, sir, on iExam platform. Thank you for taking out time on a Saturday morning from your busy schedule.
And you're welcome. You're welcome, Prati. It's a pleasure to join you and try to share my understanding of the international financial services centers for you and your audience. Yeah.
Sure. So I will introduce Sir to the audience, and then we can start with the session. So we have Radhakrishnan Nair, sir, with us today. And, sir has a vast experience, more than 40 years of experience across financial systems and financial markets in our country. He had started his career with Corporation Bank, and later on he has served as the MD for Corporation Bank Securities Limited. He's also been the former executive director at SEBI and has worked with almost all the regulators in some capacity or the other. He's been with IRDA, a board member with IRDA. He's been a trustee on the NPS Trust. He's been on various committees, being formed by very different regulators related to money and banking at RBI, with SEBI, with IRDA, with PFRDA, and he has vast experience across the securities markets and financial products. From education, I think he holds a degree in science, in law, in management. So it's an ongoing journey of learning for Sir. He loves to keep upgrading himself and keep learning. And so who better, I thought, would be a person who could tell us about IFSC and IFSCA, who is now looking into, in fact, all kind of financial products and financial services in the country's IFSC. So thanks again, sir, for joining, and I welcome you. We have in the audience students preparing and wanting to make a career in the financial space through various regulators, and as of now, they're focusing on IFSCA.
Yeah, thank you. It's my pleasure to join you and share some insights and understanding of the, International Financial Services Authority, which has been constituted recently.
Yeah. So if I start with the very basic, what is IFSC like? How is it different from any other financial hub that there may be in a country?
So in the financial centers generally cater to customers outside their own jurisdiction and deal with the flow of finance and financial services across borders. And these are generally called the International Financial Service Centers. So, there are different types of financial centers. You have the global IFSCs, you have the regional IFSCs, you have the non-global, non-regional IFSCs, and the offshore IFSCs. So in India, for instance, London is a center which you could say is a global IFSC, or New York. Then you have regional IFSCs like Dubai, Hong Kong, etc., which look at rather than their national economy, they look at their regional economies. Then you have centers like Paris, Frankfurt, Tokyo, Sydney, etc., which are non-global and non-regional, but they provide a wide range of services, but cater mainly to the needs of their own national economies rather than their regions. And finally, you have, offshore IFSCs, which are basically tax havens. That is meant for wealth management and global tax management rather than providing a full era of international financial services. In the Indian context, an IFSC is a jurisdiction which provides financial services to non-residents and residents in any currency other than the Indian rupee. So, only thing is the currency should be convertible. The IFSC Gift City presently is based in Gujarat. It's the first international financial center promoted jointly by the government of Gujarat and the government of India. The Gift City is geographically located in India, but it is an offshore center in terms of the Foreign Exchange Management Act. That means, any institution or branch set up in IFSC will be treated as a person resident outside India for the purpose of the Foreign Exchange Management Act.
So very simple, basic questions coming for clarity of students, because I think there's a little confusion in terms of, how an IFSC is different from any other foreign services that are being provided? Say, for example, if we are talking about Exim Bank, which is developing the export sector, right? And then we have the foreign exchange, companies, FFMCs are there, convert money exchangers, which are existing, right? So these kind of services or industries or institutions that exist. So will their work remain different from something happening in IFSC?
So the Exim Bank, for instance, was created to enable Indian exporters and importers to, set up projects in foreign countries. So they were giving project finance. Okay. And then there is something called the ECGC, Export Credit Guarantee Corporation, which was giving, kind of an insurance for
the export.
For exports and so on. So these were created with specific objectives in mind. For instance, you want to set up a project in Iran or Iraq, you could go through the Exim Bank and do a bilateral, you could get money in rupee and set up a project there and get money in Iranian currency and make the payments through those. So they are quite different. Here, the idea is that, the financial services per se, which were actually not being provided in the Indian, because of the fact that we were not convertible on capital account, they will be enabled through this financial sector. So they are different. The agencies you spoke of, I'll give you another example. For instance, the reinsurance is another area which can be done through this and then, you could also issue catastrophe bonds, which were earlier being issued in offshore jurisdictions. India has not yet started it, but these are new products which could come up. For instance, there is a flood or an earthquake and you want to insure against that. So you could issue catastrophe bonds through the financial centers. Once they develop, institutions which can actually issue it and get investors which can subscribe to it. So it will enable, otherwise, if Indian companies had to go for reinsurance, they had to buy it from outside.
Right.
So there was an export of our rupee outside the country. Now it could happen outside only, but through this jurisdiction by having financial service providers will give products and services which will enable such products and which will give confidence to investors that their interests will be taken care of if they invest in the market. So this, and that will be the, I think the innovation which people can look forward to. What is happening outside in offshore centers and, in risk management, in tax management, in, wealth management. These are areas where a lot of innovation can be built into financial products and services, which will enable the Indian investor also to invest in these securities abroad. So I am on the board of some of the ICICI Group companies, and most of the companies have set up centers in the financial center. The bank, the asset management company, the insurance company, the securities company, all are looking at opportunities. I'm on the Axis Mutual Fund. Again, they are also setting up a body. I'm on another broking firm, which is having a large presence outside in the Middle East. But they are also setting up a office in the gift city. So, and then there's another company which is a broking firm, insurance broking firm. They are looking to set up an office there to enable issue of catastrophe bond. They are in talk with the regulators. So these are emerging areas and evolving areas which will provide the Indian economy the platform for customers in various products which are not available now.
Right. So, like you said, there's an opportunity definitely for companies to work. For students here who are looking to make a career in the financial sector, what kind of opportunities can they look ahead if they get into IFSC as compared to any other regulator, say?
So, this is for the students, I think it's a tremendous opportunity because you will rarely be able to, discharge such diverse functions in any one regulator. In India, if you join the Reserve Bank, you do some banking or some on NBFC or some of these, sector regulators. So similarly, SEBI would look at stock exchanges and say the intermediaries. And IRDA would look at insurance company as an intermediary. PFRDA would look at all the various intermediaries which do pension. But here is one authority where you will be able to discharge diverse functions. And they cover a wide spectrum of activities that include banking, capital market, insurance, ancillary business, fintechs, and so on. So and it is empowered to develop and regulate India's in order to compete with, say, Singapore, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, etc. These are the markets where I think India will be competing initially, rather than London market, which is an international financial center. So IFSC is striving to ensure a good regulatory environment and promote the ease of doing business at par with global best practices. So you get to learn a lot of what's happening globally in the market when you work in IFSC. So there's a regular interface between IFSC and various stakeholders, such as domestic and international regulators, financial institutions, national and international subject experts, consultants, advisors. So I can say that there's a diverse and technical skill set in the domain of financial services, coupled with international experience, which can be developed at the IFSCA.
So as of now, IFSC is also recruiting for the first time in a manner like other regulators are doing. So they will be taking a written exam for which they have given certain subjects that they will be covering overall in the exams. And for the eligibility, they've allowed any graduate to give the exam. So is there that when these students reach the interview stage for them, you have experience of recruiting at different regulators. So as a regulator, when they are recruiting and when they're taking interviews, so what kind of qualities they're looking at, and do they give any preference to any kind of education, given the fact that they allow any graduate to give the exam?
So, see, there are two roles in the regulatory body. One is you make the regulation. Two is there are three roles actually. Then you supervise whether the regulations have been properly, and so there's, and then third is you do the quasi-judicial function. That is, in case there is a violation of regulation, you issue quasi-judicial orders. So all these three areas, see, when you look at when you make a regulation, you will have to have some understanding of law and how it is enacted, because you will be creating subordinate legislation. So the second is on supervision. When you do supervision off-site or on-site supervision, how do you develop skills to get early warning signals on irregularities which are being committed? How do you build systems of incentives and disincentives which will enable what you call an orderly market? You want to create an orderly market. And finally, the quasi-judicial skills will be on enforcement of the regulation in terms of violation by issuing show-cause notices and doing a proper judicial hearing before passing a speaking order of or enabling the passing of a speaking order for either cautioning or punishing or putting financial penalties on entities which are violating the regulation.
So, sir, any tips you would want to give to students when they are preparing right now for the exam level, or any overall making a career in the financial space?
So the tips is prepare well. First, get through the written test, because mostly there will be a test of reasoning, and the old exam pattern must be more objective type. Try to prepare well, and once you clear the exam, I think you should go to the interview with a lot of confidence, because I think today like YouTube channels and the information is available on the internet. You only have to make an effort to read and internalize some of these gaps or the reforms which are required for the Indian financial sector to catch up with the global financial sector. So I think there's a lot of future. Even if you join the authority there could be chances of getting a foreign posting or a lot of travel abroad to meet other regulators along with so the opportunities are going to be enormous depending on the area of work which is allotted to the individual. And so I think it's going to be exciting opportunities. You have to think positive, work hard, get into the authority first, clear the written test, and then do well, as I mentioned in the interview, do well in terms of understanding the vision of the organization and how you can contribute to reaching that vision or understanding that vision of the organization and enable the organization also to grow. And my own feeling is it's a new regulator. When you join a new regulator, chance of promotion also higher. So also you could move across the regulatory framework. Who could get into higher positions in other regulatory bodies when they recruit. Because they all are growing now. Pension regulator is growing and IRDA is also growing and the SEBI is also growing. So RBI is anyway there is a big regulator. So there is opportunities for cross movement also within the regulatory body. There is opportunity for travel abroad and meeting with a lot of experts and consultants who could be either posted in the authority or they could travel with them. So I was looking at the website myself because of this. I saw the chairman travel to a lot of countries to sign memorandum of understanding, exchange of information, and also at the regional level, say the South Asian countries, you could be a hub for knowledge building. So, for instance, say Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, Sikkim. These are countries in the immediate vicinity, Afghanistan, Iran. These are areas which will require, your kind of knowledge and talent because they are very much backward compared to the Indian system. So at the local, regional level also, there will be a lot of opportunities for, training people and, coaching them into the, areas where they can develop and become financial centers. So I think opportunities are there, both locally, regionally, and globally.
So if we do not have any other queries, so we will close the session here. And again, I will extend, a lot of thanks from the students and from iExamB team, so for taking out time to share all this knowledge and insight into exactly how IFSC functions, how IFSCA's future will be, and how an exciting opportunity this is for the students to make a career in the financial space.
Thank you very much. In fact, because of you and this session, I talked to two of my former colleagues who were on deputation to the IFSCA, and also I talked to my bank to get details of how they are coping up. So it has actually enhanced my knowledge also and my understanding of the market. So I must thank you and all the students for having given me the platform to speak to you and share my understanding and also learn with you in the process. Thank you,
sir. And that is very, very encouraging because, that gives us the motivation that, the learning never stops.
Yes.
There's always something new coming up. We have to keep reading. We have to keep talking and keep discussing to understand and appreciate the different kind of opportunities and innovation that keeps happening in the country and the world. So thanks again, sir. Have a good day ahead.
Thank you, Prachi, and thank you to all the students. All the best for your exams.